Ho ho ho! Happy Hacksmas, agents! Santa here, welcoming you to this week's Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by Pokémon Trainer J. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates, and rumors. Share comments on your podcast feed or on our socials in the show notes. And check the merch store out too. I've got you all on my nice list. So, no Dark XM for you this year. I hear one agent has Fit Rep rewards on their Christmas list. I'll see what I can do. Ho ho ho! On with the show.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents and welcome to episode 63 of the Ingress Insights podcast. In this week's episode we're going over any anomaly related news we've had, as well as updates to Ingress. We've had an app update and the Q1 mission days, and then finally covering some Wayfarer related news as well. Before I do get into the news, I'll just cover my gameplay for the week like I usually do. So for myself, I've not done a whole bunch this week. I've just been playing quite casually, but doing plenty of links and fields and a decent amount of Machina clearing. I think my next Machina medal level is 5,000 reclaimed, so that's still a ways away, but I made a little dent in it this week. Of course, if you want to share how you're doing and how you're playing, you do that in the comments if the podcast you listen to lets you do that, or sharing on YouTube if you're listening there. But that's all from my gameplay for this week, so I'll get into the anomaly news first of all.
Hi, this is HP Bulola, and you're listening to the Ingress Insights podcast.
As I record this episode on the 19th of December, there's unfortunately not been any new news for the upcoming anomalies for Q1 being plus alpha. Usually the team does a detailed post saying what's happening, skirmishes, things like that. We don't have one of those as yet. It may be that we get it early on in the new year or before the year wraps up, but hopefully we do get it soon. But for now, there's not anything new anomaly related. So I'll move into the regular Ingress news now.
What's up? This is Smooth Guy O, and you listen to the Ingress Insight podcast.
Firstly, on the 18th of December, we got a new update to the Ingress app. So we're now on 2.157.2. That one mentions that they fixed transparency of multi-layered fields on the map, which was an issue introduced in the last update. And they've also added the option to swipe between daily and campaign tabs on this patch. That does swipe really quick. I've tried that, so it's very nice. It's rolling out to Android users in the next few days. Hopefully you've got it as you're listening to this, but it's now available for iOS users. So if you do have it, make sure you update and then you'll be able to see better under your multi-layered fields. Next up, Niantic have announced the mission days for Q1 2025. So I'll read through those lists and then you can let me know if I pronounce anything wrong, because I probably will. So on January the 25th, there's one in El Progreso, Honduras. February the 1st gives us one in Turin in Italy, and then February the 1st as well, there's one in Frederick, Maryland in the United States. The 8th of February brings us one in Salia in Thailand. The 9th of February, the day later, is one in Ottawa in Canada. On the 15th of February, there's one in Trujillo, Peru. And then for the anomaly weekend, there's one on February the 16th in Yokosuka, Japan. That's followed on the 22nd of February by one in Margo in India. And then on the 23rd, there's one in Barcelona in Spain. And then one in Tucson, Arizona, United States for the anomaly mission day. Then March brings us one in Hildesheim in Germany on the 8th. And also on the 8th, there's one in Houston in Texas in the United States. The 16th brings us one in Malmo in Sweden. And then finally is the last one for the anomaly weekend in Naples in Italy, and that is on the 23rd of March 2025. If you do want to apply for the Q3 and Q4, you can do that. The time for applying for Q2 is already passed, so we'll likely have those out at some point before the end of Q1. But if you do want to apply, there's the Google Forms on the Ingress Mission Day website, where I'll link to, and then you can apply there if you do want to host Mission Day. Fortunately, there's none UK related for this time around. I guess no one applied for one, unfortunately. So I won't be getting any ticks on my mission day for Q1 at least. I shared in an earlier episode of the podcast that the Intel map now had an events tab, and there was a countdown to 2025 event that had been added on there that didn't really have many further details. We do now have some details that were published on the Ingress news page on the 16th of December. So they note, ring in the new year with Ingress. Agents ring in the new year with a special Ingress New Year event, countdown calendar from 22nd of December 2024, 12 AM local time to 31st December 59 PM local time. Complete a series of 10 limited time one-day campaigns to earn unique rewards and celebrate the beginning of another year of Ingress adventures on foot with friends. But don't delay, each campaign expires at the end of the day, so make sure to check in daily and claim your rewards before they disappear. There's also a New Year medal, which is pretty standard now. We've had those past few years. So starting 1st of January 2025, 12 AM UTC, commemorate the new year with the exclusive New Year 2025 medal. This medal will be available in the in-game store for 2,500 CMU. Show off your Ingress spirit and start the new year in style. Join us as we welcome 2025 together. Happy hacking. They note there. I always say that at the end of the podcast, so it's nice to see that on there too. I am interested in what the unique rewards will be, because whether that is unique as in you don't normally get them, or they are unique like some special kind of item that you'll be getting from these. I don't think that is the case, that it'll be that unique, or it'll be some bursts, some shields like that. But nonetheless, I'm excited to do the daily campaign and see what I can get out and do each day, especially when it's Christmas Day, Boxing Day. Those are generally busy days, so see what I can get out and do on there to do the campaign. Another celebration of the end of the year is also going on. So the agent Mr. Chicks, who I mentioned in previous podcasts for doing his calendar and various other Ingress merch and stuff, is doing an end of year video. So if you want to be included, just send him a short video saying something along the lines of, "This is agent name, wishing you happy holidays from wherever you are in the world." If you don't want to include your face, you can just record your greeting whilst filming something that represents your town. So I'll link to Thea's post where she shared that, and then you can send your video to Mr. Chicks, and then it'll be included in the end of year video to celebrate Ingress. By the sounds of it. That's all there is for Ingress related news. So I'm going to move now into some Wayfair related news, some little things about VPS and power spots as well. So I'll get moving into that now and cover those little bits.
This is Shimon, former community manager for the Witcher Monster Slayer, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
On previous episodes, I've talked about the power spots that have been imported to Pokémon Go. These can come from Ingress portals aren't in Pokémon Go, or way spots that aren't in any game and are used by Pokémon Go for this method. However, most of them seem to be just imported garbage and generic businesses, things like that, nothing that would generally meet Wayfarer criteria. Until recently, you could only do minor updates to power spots, but you can now edit titles, add photos, add location category, edit locations, add and edit descriptions, and report a power spot issue. So if it is at someone's house, if it is unsafe to access, things like that, things you'd normally report everything for. And you can add in supporting information such as links like that. These edits, so like photos being added or edits to location or titles, they will show up for people on Wayfarer to review, even though they're not way spots and not on the map for Ingress especially. So just keep an eye out for them in review if you see something that's got no photo, no description, and maybe a terrible title. That's probably a power spot you're editing, but just review it as you would normally for anything else. The UK Wayfarer Telegram group is also doing a countdown to 2025, as they noted. Whilst Ingress, Pokemon Go, Pikmin Blue, and Monster Hunter now have their end of year events going on, does Peridot have one going on as well? We don't know. We felt Wayfarer was a little left out. To celebrate the end of 2024, please share your self-nominated diamonds as well as the worst nominee / goal you've come across this year in your reviews. You can share them in the comments of this post or in whatever chat you see this shared in. We look forward to seeing your coal and diamonds. There's been a few posts I've seen in there of really nice stuff. I've not seen much coal posted, so maybe people haven't seen a lot of coal recently, with ML taking a lot of the rubbish things up front. I mentioned before that it seemed to be off and not working currently. I know I've had a few that would normally have been taken by ML that haven't been and have gone through normal community voting. But then I've also had photos taken by ML and get approved within minutes. So maybe it's on for some things and not on for other things. I don't know at the minute. I've also mentioned in a previous podcast about Pokémon Go Playgrounds being the thing in Pokémon Go for VPS, and what you do with that with placing a Pokemon there and letting it interact with other Pokemon. These were marked on the campfire map recently, and they've now been active since I've seen them marked on the campfire map, so you can go to those locations that have been scanned either by Ingress players or Pokemon Go players, or even doing Scaniverse splats, I think. And then you can take use of that feature there. Hopefully it means that the Wayspot is also an overclock portal, and maybe more Pokemon Go players will now submit scans in the hopes of getting a Pokemon Playground, and that might even then lead to more overclockable portals. I have seen that it's been said that there's now over 1 million plus overclock portals all over the world, so that's a nice number to have and nice amount. Hopefully you have some near you, and if not, just need to get scanning really and get sorted on there. If you're bothered about using the feature at all, I quite like it because it loads of items and it doesn't take long if I know the sequence off the top of my head. Next up, I just want to talk about my experience in reporting some power spots and what went well, what didn't, if you are planning to do that as well. As mentioned, you can now report power spots in Pokemon Go, so I've reported a few that are around me. There was a business that I know closed down that was based at someone's house, and I reported that one using the options to say it was a private residential property. That did unfortunately get rejected, and I had to then raise it further with help chat to get that sorted out. However, the ones I've done have been a bit more successful, so I've had a few duplicate businesses, and I know it's not great that they're on there because they're just random business, but the business does exist. I've just reported it as a duplicate, and that has been pretty quickly taken care of. One thing that I was curious about was what adding photos would do to power spots, as those aren't displayed on Pokemon Go. So I just want to go through what I found out by doing that first of all. This is my own post I'm going through on the Wayfarer community forums. So for doing the power spot additions and edits, so if the location is on Niantic Spatial, which is the new name for Niantic Lightship, Ingress or other games, for this type of location, Pokemon Go does not show an existing description even if there is one. So that might be very confusing to Pokemon Go players who go on and edit a power spot. If they do see it's got no description, they may think one needs adding and may not be aware that they shouldn't use game-related references in it. So you may see those edits coming on Wayfarer, so just vote correctly on them if you do see those come up. If you make an edit like that where there's no description, Wayfarer does show the existing description on your contributions page. So even though you can't see it in Pokemon Go, when you go to view your contribution, you'll be able to see the previous/current description. And Pokemon Go does not show any existing photos or any photos on the power spot at present, but Wayfarer shows the current photo applying. Wayfarer does show the current photo in conjunction with yours, like you'd expect on contributions. So it will show the existing photo and then the one that you've submitted, even though the power spot doesn't show anything because it's come from another game like Ingress where there is already a photo, so there is a photo of that Wayspot. If the power spot is an import that doesn't appear anywhere else, so it's one of the generic businesses, random things that's been added by Pokemon Go team, then it shows no description, obviously, because there's not one to show. If you do an edit and add that description, it will just show the usual no description on contributions of what the current one is. Again, it doesn't show any existing photos or any photos on the power spot. If you add a new one, Wayfarer will show you your current photo, and then it will also show the grey default photo that you usually get when there's no photo on the Wayspot. That happened with like the NBA All World Courts of the World imports, where they just imported a load of data but I assume didn't have the license or whatever to use the photos. They just got their generic blank photo thing. So they are slightly different. I think the main bit to be wary of is that Pokemon Go will show there's no description on a power spot that's come from Ingress or Niantic Spatial when there is, because usually there have been one put in unless it's a really old Ingress portal when you didn't need the descriptions on there, or if it's been removed. I've seen descriptions get removed before when they've had a lot of game related references in, they just delete them entirely. I have submitted a few photos to power spot only things, so they didn't come from Ingress or other way spots, they're just from that import. Those haven't been approved as yet, so I mentioned that ML accepted some photos. What I did was did a photo to an existing portal that's also a power spot in Pokemon Go. That photo got accepted straight away for that away spot. The ones I've done for the power spot only ones haven't been accepted yet, so I'm not sure what the process is on there, whether ML will take them, whether the community will vote on them. I'll update on whatever does happen on the Wayfarer forums in here, just because I want to test it and see what happened basically. But that about wraps up what I've got to say about Wayfarer, so I'll get you on to the end of the show now.
Hey, this is Sim, Global Product Marketing Lead for Peridot, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
Thank you for listening, agents. So hopefully by the time you listen to this, you'll be deep into the first day of campaigns for the Countdown to 2025 event. Also, by the time of the next podcast on the 29th, we should have some Plus Alpha Anomaly. Also, by the time of the next podcast on the 29th of December, we should hopefully have some Plus Alpha Anomaly related news, as well as maybe another update, but I'm not sure whether the team would do one before the end of the year now, maybe to change to the Plus Alpha logo, because we've got the regular purple logo at the moment that many agents have missed. So maybe we won't be changing the logo for every anomaly season this year now that we're done with the memories events, but it'd be interesting to know what happens as a result of those. We've not had the lore for the anomalies drop as yet. I'm also hoping, because there'll only be 2 days left of the year by then, that we have the Ingress Player Ambassador program details, and hopefully the team haven't forgotten about that. I'll also be going through the Ingress Japanese community calendars to cover any details there, and providing links to all of those so you can read them yourself. I'm not going to go through everything in great detail, just look at things a little bit and read through things slightly. I don't want to just read word for word on there exactly what's in 3 lots of calendars. So hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you all have a great festive period if you're celebrating. But thank you again for listening, agents. I get you back to your Sunday now. Happy hacking. Have a great day. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well. Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast, is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to epublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs that we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon, but you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.